All right, let's talk about silver. For thousands of years, it's been a store of value, right? But what's happening now? Well, the technologies of the future are totally rewriting its story. Today, we're going to break down the powerful forces that have some analysts predicting a massive price surge. So, let's dive in.
Okay, let's kick things off with a headline that is absolutely turning heads. I mean, when a major player like Bank of America starts throwing out numbers like this, you gotta pay attention. That isn't just noise, you know? That's a signal that the fundamental math of the silver market could be changing in a really big way. So the question is, why? What are they seeing?
And that is the big question we're going to tackle today. Is this all just hype? Or is there a real fundamental story here that maybe most investors are missing? To figure that out, we've got to look past the flashy headlines and dig into what's really going on with silver's supply and demand. All right, so to really get a handle on silver, the first thing you absolutely have to understand is that it's got this dual nature. It plays two completely different roles in the global economy. Think of it like it has two powerful engines driving its demand, and this is the key to the whole story. Right now, both of those engines are firing on all cylinders.
I mean, just look at this split personality. It's fascinating. On one hand, you've got silver, the industrial metal. Its electrical conductivity, it's literally the best of any element on the planet. That makes it completely irreplaceable in things like solar panels and EVs. But then, on the other hand, you've got silver, the monetary asset. You know, a store of value people have trusted for thousands of years, a lot like gold. It's this totally unique dual demand that really sets the stage for everything else we're about to talk about.
So how does this dual nature actually create an opportunity for investors? Well, it leads to what a lot of people are calling a fundamental squeeze. And this is where we see a classic economic collision course. You've got unstoppable demand meeting an almost unmovable supply. Okay, first, let's get a really important term on the table, a structural supply deficit. Now, this isn't just a one-off bad year for mining or something. No. This means that year after year after year, the world is using more silver than it is producing. We are literally eating into the world's above-ground stockpiles just to meet our current needs. And believe me, this isn't some new trend or a short-term blip. The market is actually heading for its sixth straight year of being in a deficit. Think about that. For 6 years running, we've used more than we've made. This kind of consistent shortfall puts a really fundamental pressure on the amount of physical silver that's actually available. And to put that deficit into perspective for you, check this out. The cumulative gap just between 2021 and 2025 was a staggering 820 million ounces. That's roughly equivalent to an entire year of global mining output, just gone, vanished, wiped from existing inventories just to satisfy demand. That's huge. And here is the massive problem on the supply side. You can't just flip a switch and get more silver. It doesn't work that way. Opening a brand new mine from the moment of discovery to getting that first ounce of metal out of the ground can take anywhere from 7 to 15 years. This makes the supply incredibly inflexible, right? It just can't respond quickly when demand suddenly goes up. Meanwhile, on the other side of that supply/demand equation, demand isn't just growing steadily. It is being absolutely supercharged. And it's not coming from old school industries either. This new demand is coming straight from the green energy transition and the digital revolution. We're talking solar panels, electric vehicles, 5G, and the massive data centers that power AI. They all need huge amounts of silver. Just take electric cars, for example. The numbers here are pretty wild. A typical EV uses nearly 80% more silver than a regular gas-powered car. So as the entire world's vehicle fleet starts to go electric, that one trend alone creates this massive, locked-in source of new demand for years and years to come. Okay, so let's recap. We have a clear structural supply deficit smashing right into a wave of pretty much unstoppable demand. With that picture in mind, what do the analysts think could actually happen to the price over, say, the next 5 years? Let's walk through a few possible scenarios. So this table lays out 3 potential paths forward. You've got your bear case on the low end. This is what might happen if things like the green energy transition slow way down. Then there's the base case. This is where a lot of the big institutional forecasts are hanging out. It basically just assumes that the trends we're seeing right now continue. And then you have the bull case. This is what could happen if these demand trends accelerate and investors start rushing back into the market, which would just compound that physical squeeze. So, after looking at all that data, what's the one big takeaway here? Let's just distill all of this down to the core idea for anyone who's trying to understand the investment case for silver.
Yeah, when it comes right down to it, the whole investment case boils down to this incredibly powerful collision. You have a long term structural supply shortage that is really, really hard to fix. And it is running headlong into a technological revolution where silver isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely essential and, for the most part, non substitutable. And that really just leaves us with one final provocative question. Silver has always lived in gold's shadow, right? It's always been seen as the smaller, more volatile sibling. But now, with the entire world going electric and digital, with these powerful new industrial forces at its back, is silver about to finally step out of that shadow? Is it finally ready for a spotlight all its own?